Let's do more example. Now, in the jottings.txt, we are connecting our Git to GitHub, and we're going to write a project description, no matter how short it's going to be. So I want to put the project description here. I'm intentionally demonstrating this so that we can do more example on our commit workflow before we go to GitHub. Let's say I'm adding something under this jotting. I'm putting something here which I'm going to write on our project descriptions on the GitHub, which is just a normal write-up. Now, when we come here, you see we have changes because it is the same file. It's already been tracked. All we just have to do is to stage it, and that is why it is normal color, which is this color. If it's a new file, on track file, it's going to be red. But like I said, just like in the command line, we use git add both to start tracking and to also stage. The same way here, if I click on this, which is on track, I click on this, which is already tracked, both of them have been staged that way. Let's leave this one and focus on this one. Now, when I click on this, I have started tracking it, and I need to write a commit message here. If I want to put a commit message here, this is just a let me write this one offline so that you can understand how we write the normal expression for our commit message. This one is just a GitHub repository. I'm just adding it to the jotting so that you can have access to this when we do pull and you are able to clone this entire project repository and you want to have access to some of the examples I used here. That's why I'm putting it here so that I can commit it and you can have access to it on the GitHub. If I come here, what commit message can I put? I can just say docs. Don't worry, you don't know the meaning of docs. I said I'm going to explain the difference. You can say I'm not putting fit because it is not contributing to our main calculator project. This is just a jotting, and that's why I use docs. And what did I do? Add GitHub repo. I can just use repo and I can write it full. GitHub repository description. Commit. I've committed this. So it is as simple as that. If I want to increase, if I also want to work more further on my calculator, which we're going to do in our next video, I can just click on it, continue to work on my calculator project, and I'll come here, stage it, commit it. Simple as that. I can always come here, check everything here. You can see all my commit messages. And if I click on any of them, you see this is the commit message I put there. These are the detailed description, just like in the terminal when we use git log. But what you are seeing here is when you use git log one line. You see everything you are seeing on the GUI has a correlating command on the terminal. Now, let's go to GitHub. We are done with this. Leave this on version 5. We're talking about it later in the course of our subsequent videos because we don't need them for now. Let me click on the project. Now, our calculator is updated. We have only done part of our calculator. We have our main commit, which is the fit. Just CV commit already. This one is just the jotting.txt. This one, I can use doc the same way. I can use doc the same way I use to add the first jotting. And I can also use core, CHORE, if I do not have anything inside that jotting. But don't worry about that for now. Let's go to GitHub. Let's commit this to our GitHub. Let me come here. This is my GitHub people, which I show you in the first case. You click on this plus. We have different things here, new issue. Everything here, we're going to cover it in the course of our course, in the course of our work. Now we are interested in new repository. You create a new repository. Don't forget, repository here is default main, just like I told you. But luckily for us, we have configured our Git into main. We don't have any issue here, whether master or whatever reconciliation. What is the name of the repo? And repo is calculator. Just to structure, we can say GitHub O1 calculator, but don't worry, let's just put calculator. Maybe our descriptions will do. Or we can also say GitHub O1 calculator. GitHub O1. And you know the reason I'm doing this to make everything well structured. If we have another project, another GitHub repo under our GitHub course, we're going to have O2. We have another repository under the same course of our discussions on Git and GitHub. When we're talking on different titles and topics, we have GitHub OTV. Now let's have GitHub O1 calculator. This is our now description. You know, I told you earlier, I can go to my calculator, copy. This is what I put here. You can just copy this, put it here. So we have 250 characters. So now we have only exhausted 290 characters. Git and GitHub, learning repository, beginner-friendly project. Just a short description about your project. This one I'm starting with Git and GitHub so that people will not be thinking it's just a normal calculator, or you yourself, I may have other calculators inside my repository already, but this one is a calculator that is intended to teach Git and GitHub. So 20 characters. Leave every other thing in public. You can decide to put it private. It depends. If you are working on a project you don't want anybody to see for now, put it on private. On public, anybody can see, anybody can clone it. On private, you are only going to have access to it. Let's say you want to be keeping some security, you want to be security conscious on some information you don't want anybody to have access to. You can put it there. You are working on a project. You know, like I told you earlier, in this my GitHub account, now you are not going to see a lot of projects that are on private. If you are working with company-related projects, company-related resources, everything is going to be private. But for the sake of this discussion, please always put your work on public. Let the recruiters, opportunities locate you to different activities on your GitHub account. Now, public, leave every other things. Read me, everything here, we're going to talk about it in the course of our discussion. Now, I create the repository. Just come here. You see this, just copy it. You can see that ends with your GitHub O1 calculator.git. Copy it. Come to your GitHub. Come to this main. You can click on this push. Because push, you can also use terminal. Push is the command line. Push simply means whatever you have done on your local repository, you want to connect it to your GitHub, which I explained in our first series. Define remote. Now, paste your URL here. When I click on OK, I've been able to connect it. Now I can push it and it will be pushed into my GitHub. But for your own case, for the first time, it's likely, you need to understand this properly. For the first time you are doing this, it might not go automatically. Because it's possible it goes automatically, and at the same time, PyCharm might prompt for authentication for the first time. That means PyCharm will ask you to sign in and authorize JetBrains. It will automatically open your Google account, and it will ask you to sign in. You sign into your GitHub normally, and you click on authorize JetBrains. Once you do that, the push will continue automatically, just like I did now, and it will not request for that again. And that's what I've just done. You see on my Git, which is local repository, you see different files. I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now let me go to my GitHub. Refresh it now. You can see it's been connected. Here I have GitHub O1 calculator. It's not compulsory you have the same here and here. Not compulsory. Here, the name of my project is calculator. Here, GitHub O1 calculator. I can also use calculator. I intentionally GitHub O1 to organize every repo we'll be having under this Git and GitHub course. Oh, I made a mistake here. It's not meant to be these two lines. It's meant to be just one. Don't worry, I can remove that one later. Now, let's check all our repository. You can see I have 5 commits, which I showed you on the Git. See the commits in order, adjusting, feed, and you can click them and see any of them very well. What exactly you did there, if you click on this, I taught you down in the first video, you can see different things. All the greens are the different codes you add. Let's say I'm opening a particular commit. Let's say this commit 4, for instance. What is the difference between the commit 3 and commit 4? All the plus are the codes you added to in the previous commit, and all the minus are the things you removed. Can you see all these greens? All these minus are the things you removed, all the plus are the things you added. So, and that is the difference between the two. You see the ones you removed, you see the one you add, and you see the one that remain the same. And that is all about that. You can go back, you can play around this. We're going to be doing that. Everything we're going to cover them, but we need to be doing it accordingly. And these are your commits. Now I've been able to connect my Git and GitHub accounts. At the end of these discussions, you have been able to create your first repository on the Git. You work on the project on the Git, you create your repo on the GitHub, and you connect them together. And we are going to end the session here. Okay, let me quickly talk about this before we end the session. I give a scenario which I want you to imagine, and do not forget, we have a compound, we have doctors, lawyers, and the Yahoo boys in the compound. We employ the security personnel and we instruct him to monitor the Yahoo boys. The security personnel, he does not understand your reason for not monitoring the doctors and the lawyers. But when anybody comes in later, that's a doctor and lawyer, by default, you will not monitor them. When anybody comes in that is a nurse, architecture, engineer, you won't know whether to monitor them or not. And to you as the owner, if your own intention is to keep monitoring them, there will be an issue because you don't give a specific instruction. And there are a lot of people that can come to rent the apartment. How are you going to generalize it such that it does not need to ask you whether to monitor or not to monitor anybody when they comes in? Then a simple way is to have a list, a general list, and we can tag the list any name. Let's say we call it an exclusion list. Anybody that is a doctor, a nurse, an engineer, a civil servant, or married, you should not monitor them. Anybody that is a Yahoo boy or single that is free to move anyhow, any day, always comes with so many friends and so on, you can continue to monitor them. Then we've made it simple. That means anytime anybody is coming, he knows who to monitor and not to monitor by the use of the exclusion list. And that is the same thing in our work. As we are working on the Git, we are working with our project inside my laptop. I'm so free to create any file. I have a file, I can put all my security to AWS, my account, all my bank accounts. I can have a security, I can have a code that opens my OpenAI, Cloud, different things within my project. By the time I'm committing and pushing something to the GitHub, which is remote repository, it's going to be public and anybody can have access to it. And that can reveal your secret. Anything can be leaked out. And it has happened to a lot of people that due to carelessness of working with the Git and push everything to GitHub, they lose a lot of things. In fact, if you will just be notified one day that on your AWS, you are owing them $1,000+. And you'll be asking yourself, how? I have only used $10, $20 to develop my project. But you do not know that the security that opens your AWS account has been pushed to GitHub. Someone saw it there and use it to open the AWS, and different people are using the same access to your AWS account. At the end of the month, you don't know anything. They will just calculate all the money that has been used on your AWS, accumulated money, and they tell you have used more than $1,000, and you'll be wondering, and it can actually be a very fatal mistake, honestly. And in so many things, it's very common in the generative AI era. So when you have your access code or access key to your OpenAI account, you mistakenly push it to GitHub, everybody is using that same access key to your OpenAI, and by the end of the month, you realize that you have used thousands of dollars and you have to pay them. And that is the essence of this. How can we generalize it? That things I'm working with in my Git or in my local repository, the moment I am done with it, I don't want it to get to my GitHub. I don't want any of my secret to get revealed. We now have a generalized file. We call it .gitignore. That means anything you don't want it to get to your GitHub, and you don't want to make the mistake, we can just put the list of it inside the .git ignore. And anything that is inside that list, Git is not going to track them by default. No matter what you do, it's not going to be tracked by Git. And that is what I want us to demonstrate now. Now you can see this on version file. All this we don't need them in .git ignore. You can see this .idea. They are just files within your PyCharm. They enable or they are useful in making your project or your codes, everything works here, but they are not needed in GitHub because they don't contribute anything to your main project or your calculator. The same thing as Vim. This Vim is also needed here, your virtual environment, to enable your code to work, but it's not needed in your GitHub because GitHub has its own virtual environment. If you are working on an advanced project like data science and you need some specific environment, you are going to put them in your requirement.txt and you put that into GitHub. GitHub will automatically pull out resources to enable your code to work. And that is the essence of all this. Now, let's create our GitHub. Don't use Python file in this case. You are going to use file. What is the specialized name? It is git ignore, .git ignore. Can you see .git ignore? This is the specialized name. You can add it. When you click this add, you start tracking it. Inside this .git ignore, you can put anything you don't want to get your GitHub. Now, I don't have any security, any code or anything I don't want it to get to my GitHub except unnecessary material like this Vim. Anything that is a folder, you can see this Vim is a folder. It contains a lot of things. .idea is also a folder. This is the way we usually write them. If you first of all write Vim, you can see that is the Vim. You now put this slash. This slash simply means this is a folder. Now, this one is not going to be tracked again by Git. Another one is the one that constitutes these .files. These files, all this. That is .idea. Can you see all these files? They are inside this .idea. This is a folder. .idea is a folder. .idea. You put this slash because it's a folder. Any other thing, if I don't want things to be tracked, because that one is a file, you just write it. You just write this .txt. Since it's a file, you don't need to put this slash there. But this one, I allow it to be tracked for some of you to use it if you want to practice with the exact thing I'm using here. Now, in this case, now let's commit it. Before I put something inside it, let me first of all commit it because I want to show you how this thing works. You can see here now, we have git ignore. This is a new file. I've staged it, but I've not committed it. Let's first of all commit it before we put something inside it. In this case, I'm not going to use these docs. I'm going to use core. I'll explain all this later. Add.git ignore. Now I can commit this. Now, let me update my git ignore. So I don't want it to track this virtual environment. I don't want it to track this .idea. You can see I've been tracking .git ignore. Now there's a change, and I want to commit this change. We are still using core. Some of you might ask, I'm writing something inside here. Why are we not using docs the way we use it in the .txt? Because this thing we are adding is only contributing to project configuration, not documentation. You don't need to worry. Anytime you are dealing with git ignore, it's always core. I can now say update.git ignore. Immediately I push this, you will see what is going to happen now. And you see that on version file disappeared. Everything, all the files that are inside this .idea, they disappeared already because I have specifically instructed Git, and that is this exclusion list we normally use. We call it .git ignore. That's the name we usually give it, not other name. We already instruct the Git that anytime you see this folder .idea, .vim, whatever is added to it, if thousands of files are added to it later, or it contains thousands of files currently, don't track it. And immediately I commit that git ignore, you can see those on version file disappeared. So we're going to be using that again and again and again. You can play around this. If you put .txt there, it's not going to work because you already committed .txt. But if I create another file, let's say I create another file, I call it a.py file, and I have not committed it here. If you have committed it already, it's late. But if you have not committed it already, and you put that file here, and you commit your git ignore, that file is going to be disappeared. So it's not going to be seen as on tracked or on version file. And that is how git ignore works. And now you have understood how git ignore works. We will continue to use this again and again till you become familiar with it. So we're going to stop our class here.